Welcome to my video on a series of videos about Pluto in Aquarius. So this is something that I want to talk about in a very general sense and just go through sort of happenstance and think about how things are going to change. The first thing that you're going to see a shift of is drugs and drug policy. This is something that's been on my mind. It's been on my spirit, as one might say. We can think of a variety of different things that have been made illegal by the U.S. government, and there's a whole list of those things. You can take a look and see what the DEA has decided that the public cannot and shall not have. Pluto, planet of transformation, Aquarius is a sign, it's an air sign. It's very much interested in knowledge. I think not as much of I think Aquarius gets a bad rap for not having enough truth questing that like a Sag sign would have, but Aquarius is absolutely interested in truth because it is a sign of humanity. So when it comes to drugs and drug policy, the Aquarius view is always going to be like, well, what are they like? Have we tried them all? Why aren't we testing this stuff? And it's really going to come from an angle of humanitarian approach, right? How can we use this to better? You've seen some of this begin with the conversation about how different substances can be used for people who are very mentally sick and mentally need to work on their mental health. And the Aquarius mindset of the people will be like, why aren't we studying this? Why aren't we using this? So I think drug and drug policy will absolutely begin to shift, but it will start in a sort of medical sense. Very rational. Aquarius, they're rational in their way, right? This sort of sense of like, let's start testing these things out and understanding how they can help us and maybe what things that we need to sort of tweak because we can, we might be putting something on the shelf that we don't need to be. Aquarians are the kings and queens and theys of like, wait, why aren't we doing this? Like, what's wrong with you all? And even though like they're used to sort of being the only ones saying this, because Pluto's moving into Aquarius, it's going to be a collective consciousness thing. And let's be honest, there are a lot of locations that would do a lot better if they were on drugs. Washington, D.C. being my hometown, being absolutely one of them. If everyone was here on shrooms, I think people would be in a lot better place, but that's for that. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about traffic and commuting to work and the commute and this work from home sort of like issue and conversation that we seem to continually be having. Again, Aquarius is all about innovation. It doesn't feel very inventive to sit in a gas guzzling car for an hour or two on your way to work, does it? The whole concept of going to work will absolutely change in the Pluto in the Aquarius phase of life. You absolutely will see not work from home, but we're thinking too small when you say that. It's a complete transformation of work, what work means to an individual, where people do that work, and how that work is valued. All of this will shift, right? So if you're thinking like work from home versus go to work, like Aquarians are like on the other planet. They're like, already thinking about universal income, and they're thinking about sharing tasks, like having a task be shared and jointly and almost like a stock exchange for talent. Like that's where Aquariuses are. They're so far off the map. It has nothing to do with like work from home or not work from home. Like Aquarians are like, they're always like 100 to 200 years ahead of you, right? And there's going to be this collective consciousness thinking of and raising about like, why do we work this way? What is the value of our work? How are we valuing everyone's individual efforts? These conversations will absolutely come to the forefront. Parenting is another area that I've not heard discussed very much, but absolutely is one of these areas that you're going to see Pluto moving into Aquarius. So the Aquarian age follows the age of Pisces, which was very much like very stern father figure and weak child that knows nothing, right? And the shift of parenting, you absolutely can see this because if you're around my age, millennial, means your parents are likely from this Piscean age and you're likely raised within that viewpoint, right? Generally speaking. As we move into the Aquarian age and Pluto moves into Aquarius, you have an absolutely completely different shift. And you have parents like me, like you perhaps, that are like, I don't want to sort of raise a kid the way that I've been raised. Like, what happened to all these hippie communes? What about, you know what I mean? We're kind of wanting to get curious about other ways of doing it in a sense of less like you child know nothing and more like you are a spiritual being and you came here for a mission. How can I learn from you? How can you be my teacher? How can you mentor me? Can you imagine your parents saying this to you, millennials? Are you kidding me? Like, absolutely not. So parenting and the approach to parenting will absolutely change. How can you raise your child or think about how to tell your child about things that have gone on in the world in a way that's a lot more in tune with the collective consciousness? My daughter's in first grade. She's already learning about the Holocaust. Like that's absolutely that's not the way that I was raised. And it's just, again, this it's moving towards and pushing towards. The thing with Aquarius as an air sign is it is not good or bad to an Aquarius. It's something to be discussed, right? Discussion is how their stock and trade. So you're going to see a lot more of these types of discussions being had in schools and also within parents and parenting as well. Those are my Some talked about, some not talked about areas that we're going to see a shift from Pluto into Aquarius. Thanks for watching. If you can't be good, be careful.